So we can talk about how to fix it. But I've been seeing a lot of students submitting for this problem. Like, let's say it's a 20% discount and that the tax is 8%. I'll show you a few different answers that I've been getting. I've been getting, and the price is X. So I've been getting this, X minus 20% plus 8%. I mean, essentially that's what we're doing, right? But we're not just doing minus 20%. Think about that. Minus 20% would be just like saying, I'm going to take the price and I'm going to subtract 0.2. That's not the same as finding 20% of the price and subtracting it. So then some of you kind of know that part and said, okay, I'm going to take the price and I'm going to subtract 20% of the price. So that's not bad. That's good, right? That's going to give you the discount. But then you're adding 8% of the price. But that's the original price. When you find tax, it needs to be taxed on the discounted price. So then if you end up making it all these different steps, it gets really confusing. So instead, I want to show you a way to make it simple. And the way to make it simple is, instead of finding the amount of discount and then subtracting it, or finding the amount of tax and then adding it, let's just do it with the percents from the beginning, right? So if I have to pay 100% of the original price, right, normally, and now I get to take off 20% of the original price, what percent am I left paying? That part. That if we take off the percent discount from 100, what's left is what we have to pay. Right? So far, so good. So that would be 80% of X. All right, I'd like everyone to clear their screens. Give me an expression that shows what you would do to find 80% of X. The way that you thought about that. Yeah, you could write it like that. You totally could. All right, so far, there's very few of you that are like, okay, I've got this. So let's talk about it. When you find a percent of a number, there's two things that you do. Ready? You might want to jot this down, because it keeps coming up again and again, right? So percent of a number. Add this to your notes, if you have notes. The first thing you do is you convert the percent to a decimal. Right? Convert the percent to a decimal. That is step number one. And Lejuel, what you have works, because 80 over 100 would be the same as writing 80 hundredths, right? Which would be converting it to a decimal. Then the second step is multiply. Multiply. So if I want to find 80% of X, the first thing I need to do is convert 80% to a decimal. So I want everyone to do that. If you haven't answered this question yet, and there's only, I think, 3 or 4 of you who have, then I want you to convert this percent to a decimal. Do that first. Okay. All right, so the decimal for 80% is 0.8, right? Because 80% is 80 hundredths, and we can also write that as 8 tenths. So if I want to show 80% of X, I just have to multiply. This is it. That's how I find 80% of X. It's the same thing as finding 8 tenths of X. So I multiply 80% or 8 tenths or 80 hundredths, whatever form, by X. All right, so that would be how we find the discount price. All right, so is everyone good with that step so far? The discount price would be 8.8x. Yes, because we're paying 80% of the original price. Okay, so now we're going to take this to the next step. So now I have something to add up here. So now I know that my discount price is 0.8x, right? We just figured that out. That's the discount price. Now, here we go with the tax. I need to pay tax on this, right? So I have to pay 100% of, I'm just going to abbreviate it as DP, right? I have to pay 100% of that discount price. Plus, I have to pay 8% of the discount price. What's the total percent of the discount price that I have to pay, right? 108% of the discount price, right? That would be, oh, okay. Are you able to get back in, Gabby? Should I paste the link in? Let me paste the link back into the chat. So I have to pay 108% of the discount price, right? Now, we know from last time that I have to convert this to a decimal. So I want everyone on your screens right now, clear them and show me the decimal for 108%. The decimal is 1.08, right? So now I have to find 100% of the discount price, and that's going to be 1.08 times the discount price, right? Now I'm using parentheses as multiplication right now. I'm not using them as grouping symbols. When you see parentheses right next to each other like that, that's multiplication. Here's the final step, and some of you are already writing it. Well done. The final step is, I know what the discount price is, right? I know that the discount price, which, watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to fill it in with what the discount price is. It's 0.8x. So when you get to that problem that's asking you to show an expression that calculates the discount and tax to get the total cost, this is what it should look like. I'm going to do a 15, the original price is X. We have a 15% discount and 3% tax. So the first thing I want you to do is tell me the percent you will have to pay. If you get to take off 15%, right? Normally you'd have to pay full price. Full price would be 100% of the price, right? Right? So if I can take 15% off of the full price, which is 100%, what percent is left?
Oh, okay.
Remember what we did on the last
100.
Right, subtract it from 100. Right. So what percent do I have to pay? Jacob, you got it? Yep, that's right. If we have a 15% discount, that means that we're going to pay 85%. Right? Now you know what the next step is. Show me the show me the decimal for 85%. So the decimal for 85% is 0.85. All right, now let's look over on this side. If I have to pay 3% tax on top of the full amount, what percent do I have to pay? Remember what we did last time. If I have to pay 3% on top of the full discount price, what percent of the discount price do I have to pay? So some of you are even going to that next step, right? So we're going to have to pay 103%. So now we need that as a decimal. Decimal would be 1.03. So when I want the final expression, right, the final one, I want to find 85% of the original price first, and then I want to multiply that by 1.03. Now, some of you may notice that, well, hey, Mrs. Vargas, you're saying you have to do that part first, but this is multiplication. Couldn't I multiply in any order? Yes, you can. So I have some students who are actually multiplying these two numbers on a calculator and then giving me that number. So for example, if I multiply these two, 1.03 times 0.85, that equals 0.8755x. That is also fine. That is also fine. Right? Or you might put the 0.85, then the 1.03, then the x. Also fine, because multiplication is, drumroll, commutative, right? We talked about the commutative property way early on. It means that I can move the numbers around and change the order and it doesn't change the answer. And I can do that with multiplication.